What up, everyone? Welcome into the Win Dummies podcast. I'm your host, Lucas Deal, and I am excited because today we got quite the show for you. We have Doug Bjerkaas, Executive Director of the PDGA, going to be with us tonight. Can't wait to chat with Doug about his life and some of the things he has going on. We're going to take a look at results for the food drive so far this year and look at some upcoming KDGA kickoffs. In Rules School, we take a look at a controversial no call at a tournament recently. And as always, we'll finish up with a fun game. Look forward to the episode and look forward to hanging out with the boys. Let's get the boys in here. And there they are. Gentlemen, we have the one-time world champ, Chris Smith. How you doing, Smitty?
Doing great, man. Doing good.
And of course, we have the no-time world champ, Step Putt Master, Mr. Ronnie Unruh. What's up, bud?
What's up, fellas? Yeah, super excited for this one.
Yeah, this is gonna definitely be fun. I just want to really just jump in right away into talking about these food drives. We've had a lot of good results, good participation, good donations raised. So let's just start right there with that. I'm gonna swing this over and let's talk, boys. Wow. Smitty, you want to talk about these?
Yeah, we've up to this point, we've had 18 events. It says right there on the graphic, over 550 people, and we've raised just under $20,000. So, that's our goal. I think we said at the beginning of the year was 34,000. So it's still obtainable. We still have a few coming up, a couple really big ones, good ones. So, it could happen, but even $20,000 donated is amazing, I think.
No doubt.
Yeah,
that's
a big number, dude. That's a big number.
It's pretty cool. And we have even more upcoming. So let's talk about those real fast.
Oh, we got Brock's out there at Quail Run, his private course on his in his yard. It gets a little chaotic out there. Some holes are crossing and going back and forth on each other. But, as far as home private courses go, it's up there. And fun factors up there for sure.
Yeah,
that's Brock's place is fun.
And then this is usually a doozy, man. They played at Oakdale Park in Salina, which is probably the nicest park in town. They get in there for one day, set up a course, and I think last year they had 18 CTP prizes, so lots to give away. And they had a crew last year, and the weather's looking pretty decent for Saturday, so hopefully they'll have a big crew again.
I think last year it was the neighborhood of 5 G-Birds, wasn't it, that they donated?
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but yeah.
All right, and then
it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
And we have the Abilene tournament, but food drive. But before we talk about this one, let's bring in, sitting in the wind tunnel, making his Win Dummies debut, the sponsor of this episode. Let me pop something up here for that. Boom. Wild Bill Hickok Disc Golf Club, the sponsor of this episode, Mr. Andrew Laughlin. Oh, and then I cover you up with your own logo. Here you go.
I'm usually the one that gets covered up, so welcome to the show, Andrew.
What's up, guys?
What up, dude? Yeah, I figured it would be better to hear about this food drive from the man himself, who's already got some cool raffle prizes going. And so tell us a little bit about this food drive coming up, man.
Dude, we're excited. Our club has already hosted 2 food drives. We did one in Chapman where we raised over $1,300. Just a couple weeks ago, we were in Harrington, raised over $1,800. So there alone, we've already raised over $3,000. My goal for Abilene is to get over 2,000, which would put us over 5,000 combined for our one club across 3 events. So really, really excited about it. We're going to be at the Salina food drive the day before for our league, or we'll be hosting tags there. So it'll be available then. But then, of course, the very next day on Sunday afternoon, We'll be at the Abilene at our home course at Browns Memorial Park. We're going to have a 24-hole layout. And so I'm adding 6 holes to that. A little bit of safari golf on some of those. It's going to be a good time, but we're going to have a raffle with it. As you mentioned, we've got tossed and sauced pizza. If you've never had tossed and sauced from Abilene, some of the best local pizza you can get. But yeah, it's going to be a great time.
And so what was one of the big raffle prizes you got? Did you already mention that?
Yeah, I've been, let me tell you, I am not good at knocking on doors and asking for people. But when you mention something like trying to help local food banks, people are generous, man. And I went and we've got a Traeger grill that's up for raffle. That'll be that's our big prize. But man, we've got like an oil change. We got some tools. We DU today just donated a paratrooper bag. We got a sniper bag from pesting or distributing. All kinds of stuff, guys. It's going to be a good time. And you know, that's where we really hit it hard with our donations is having those big raffle prizes.
Yeah.
If somebody's awesome. Not going, Andrew, I'm sorry, Smitty. If somebody's not going, can you join that raffle? Can I join that raffle right now?
Absolutely. Best thing to do, if I'm gonna shoot out some information right here, but message me on Facebook. You can easily contact me there. So search me up, Andrew Laughlin. But you can send us some money via PayPal, and we'd happily take your donation and get you in the raffle. And no matter where you're at, we got somebody that can head that way with your prize with whatever you end up winning.
Yeah, that's sick. And this is your second Traeger this year. So your raffle prizes have been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we had a Traeger in Harrington, and so some folks dropped a lot of money trying to win that. It was won by a guy that spent $10 on raffle tickets and didn't even show up to the event.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. All right. Well, since you are sponsoring the episode, we really appreciate that first and foremost. But wanted to just give you a quick shout out on just some ways that people can connect with the Wild Bill Hickok Disc Golf Club. So you talked about the food drive here, but talk to me about your Facebook group.
If you're on Facebook and you're involved in disc golf in the state of Kansas right now, you've probably seen me spamming every possible page, but that's what I think is the easiest way to get our information out is just the group. Just search Wild Bill Disc Golf Club. We're very active there as far as letting people know about what events are going on, league rounds, all that sort of stuff. So that's the number one place to get a hold of us and let us know what to let people know what's going on.
Yeah, and you run a tag league, you run doubles. Tell me about some of the things that you're doing.
Yeah, we run tags year round. That was just started about 2 years ago or so. This is our second full year that we just started. We run those every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock currently. Once the time changes, we go to 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings. But then we also add Tuesday evenings in the springtime and summer and fall. So we run tags twice a week. Now I know that imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and I just want everyone to know I'm not trying to flatter Darren Bottom at all, but we are doing everything exactly like Darren Bottom does. It's a points-based system with a skins match at the end. We're about to change and add on some paid flights, just like some people are adopting. So that's the thing that we've got rocking and rolling, because Darren runs things great, and why try and fix something that's not broken.
Exactly.
So, so we run tags. We're running a Glow League right now. We will be on through the end of the month of March running Glow, but then we also run random draw doubles on Wednesday nights throughout the spring and summer. We're a busy club, and we're all over the county of Dickinson County, Abilene, Hope, Harrington, Chapman. We jump over to Junction City every now and then, and yeah, we're just trying to be as active as possible and fill that void between Manhattan and Salina.
How many people do you have in your club or Abilene area that play?
As far as like locals, I can't say that my total number of tags sold is indicative of our population base here, because I've got so many people in Manhattan that bought tags. Little River guys have bought tags. I've currently got 64 tags out already for the year. Pretty excited about that. But we've got a solid base of about 13 people average per round that come out, which I'm really happy with for an area like Abilene.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it looks like I don't know who's saying this because they're on Facebook, but someone says they're up in KC and they're going to have to try to make it over one of these days to play some of your stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we love the fact that Browns Park is where it is. If people haven't played Browns Park, it's a big old park with massive cottonwood trees, and it's a perfect home course because you can run so many different types of events there. But we're just excited to be there and be in communities like Chapman, where we're trying to expand to a second course there, and we're also involved with the projects going on at Harrington. Expanding Father Padilla Park, and then we're also adding a course down by one of the lakes. So to be able to have a club that's involved with all those sorts of things going on in the area, we're glad to be part of it and help facilitate that kind of growth.
That's great, man. You guys are doing some good stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, it's awesome that you're doing everything that you're doing. It's awesome that you came on as a sponsor. We love that you were here. Thank you so much, my man, for hopping on, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you guys for the platform. Continue doing great things. Love the show as often as we get to see it, and looking forward to that interview with Doug.
We're getting ready to go every week. Did you know that?
I'm ready for it.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I'm
ready to watch every week.
Appreciate it, dude.
All right, dude.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
guy.
Thank you, homie. All right, bye-bye. All right. Well, awesome. So again, if you have not had this on your agenda, make sure you play this Abilene food drive. And if you can't make it, send him some money. Try to get that Traeger.
I was trying to get the PayPal right now so I can get in. I need that Traeger, man. I need that Traeger in my life.
All right. Let's hop through the rest of these real fast here.
Yeah, let's do it. Hayes, Frontier Park, always an awesome food drive. They usually have a big old chili fest or feast right there at the park. They used to use Hole One's pavilion. I don't know if they still do, if they use 15 like they do for the tournament, but one of my favorite courses in Kansas by far, withstood the test of time. So Norton, I believe it's the day after Hayes. It's got one of my favorite holes in Kansas. Hole 1 at Norton, you throw down this, believe it or not, a pretty good sized hill in Kansas. And you used to throw through a lot of times in the summer, there'd be a carnival set up and you'd have to throw through the like Ferris wheel and stuff. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's crazy. I've never played that one.
It's cool. It's just so far away. And then Pratt.
Lemon Park.
Yeah. That's what got their foot in the door to get the summer tournament at Lemon Park. So always awesome, always fun. It's usually a big one too. So.
Yep.
And then Riley, Kansas. This is Alan Fox. I don't know much about Riley, Kansas. I'm assuming it's in Riley County, probably close to Manhattan, and
about 20 minutes north of Manhattan.
So they've had multiple food drives up in that area as well. So got that guy. And then Hutch, and I can't see where this is at.
It says
Rice Park.
Yeah.
Rice Park. Yeah. So the little short course there in town, the new one. So Matt Newton and crew, I think they missed last year's food drive, and they're back on it and at it again this year. So we're happy to have them back. And there's one other food drive that's not on the list. I don't think. Is there one after this, Lucas, or not?
That's it.
Yeah, there's one in Manhattan that'll happen at the exact same time as the KDJ kickoff there in Manhattan. So
Okay.
there's one bonus food drive there. Ronnie, you want to enlighten us a little bit about the KDJ kickoffs?
Absolutely. Obviously, we got, as the graphic shows, we got the kickoffs coming Saturday, March the 3rd, or is that Sunday? It's that weekend, right? Are they all that same day? So we got all the kickoffs coming. Yeah, all the kickoffs coming. You can sign up. It's the easiest way to sign up for the KDGA. $30 for a full membership. If you just want to have a membership and a pin only, $15. But I mean, the $30 gets you your membership. I believe it gets you a disc. Is that right?
Yep.
You get obviously if you go to Beloit, you get to have the banquet there at Beloit, the dinner at night, and then we have the banquet at the end of the year. And if you're lucky enough to make the finals, you can get your entry paid for the next year. So a lot of membership benefits.
I may have
March
to wrong.
Whatever.
I thought it was
that
March
Saturday
2.
is.
Whatever the Saturday is, I think
March
3rd is the Sunday. That's on me.
We'll blame it on show producer on this.
That's
one.
me.
And I'll tell you the other thing about these is Kevin has a Google form going around that if you're already a member, you can use that form to give us your shirt size. And we're going to do our best to have shirts at all the events and discs. We'll for sure have discs at all the events and hopefully the pins so we can get as much of that passed out there on the 2nd and not have to worry about it throughout the entire year. It makes it so much easier on us if you're already signed up or if you sign up beforehand, just so we can try to get the right amount of stuff to different parts of the state. So we save a ton of money not shipping things. Now, sometimes we miss some people and we don't catch up with them until, towards the end of the year, but we just don't ship. So if they can get on that form and get their information in, it'll really help us.
Yeah, easiest way to get the stuff. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to be able to play a food drive event a kickoff event this year because I'm going to be busy that day. But I think I'm going to swing by Millbrook Park here in Wichita and pick my stuff up. So even if you're already signed up, and even if you're not playing, I mean, jump by one of these guys and see if you can.
Come hang out.
Have your buddy grab it.
Yeah, for
have
sure.
your buddy grab your stuff. So, yep.
Well, gentlemen,
food drive. It's here. The season is like
it's
like
happening
here, buddy. It's here.
It is happening. Should we bring Doug on before we jump into rule school?
Yeah,
I mean,
because he's just hanging out in the wind tunnel all by himself, and I feel bad for him.
It's probably breezy in there.
So let me kind of talk about this for a second. So this man does not need an introduction, but we're going to go ahead and give you one anyway. All right, let's go ahead and pull him out here. Give me just a second. Let's make him big. So this gentleman right here worked with Dynamic Discs for more than 15 years, holding various positions from events coordinator, community relations, special projects, and human resources. He was even the company's president. Some might know him as the father of world champion Paige Shue, or you may know him from his amazing storytelling. Last year, he started a new position with the PDGA as the director of operations, but his biggest accomplishment of all, his career biggest accomplishment was last July when he was able to hand the World Championship trophy to our very own Chris Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Doug Bjerkaas. Thanks for being here, sir.
Hey, it's good to be here. I'm already a little bit distraught because I am my mom's second favorite disc golfer, and I'm just very envious of Chris right now. But anyhow,
he one-ups us again, and I don't know that I ever got the trophy for world champion caddy, but I'll keep waiting at the mailbox for it, Doug.
Yeah, good deal.
Hey, I gave you the caddy vest. What else you want?
Fair enough. And I think I got a steak dinner out of it, so it was actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Well, that place was good too, man.
I think I did we see you there eating steak, or you told me you were going to eat steak?
We
forget.
ate at that place right across from the Little America.
Yep.
You go in there and they start singing on stage. You weren't there when we were there.
I wasn't. No.
But boy,
It was something else, though.
it was pretty good. It was fun.
I did
Yeah, it
hear
was
you
pretty
after getting your trophy and all the pictures and all that. I do recall you saying, "Hey, we're going to eat steak tonight."
We had a good time.
Had to spend that money.
Yep.
Had to spend it. So thanks for being on, Doug. We're excited to have you, man.
Yeah, I think the high point of the show though will be that little soundbite where Darren Bottom's praises were being sung. He's probably going to record that and have it on a loop that just plays on his phone or something like that.
It'll be his ringtone.
He's here too. He's here. He just said, "What's up? Bring Doug out of the wind."
Yep. Darren he's one of the first Kansas. In fact, Smitty and Darren were some of the first two Kansas disc golfers I ever met when I was living in Colorado. Came out to play the course that Chris was talking about, Hayes, which is just, I agree with him 100%. One of the greatest courses in the world. A few dangerous tee pads, but other than that, what a great place to play disc golf and meet people.
We'll get to that later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've watched, Doug, but we always start this process the same way. Ronnie has 3 questions that he asks every guest that we have. And then after that, we just kind of do some talking and see where that leads. And then we have some questions from the Win Dummy fans. So
Yep.
we'll let Ronnie take over and get us rolling.
All right, Doug. Like I said, we do this to every guest. We call it 3 from the tee. Right? So the first question, do you remember the first disc you ever owned, and do you still have it?
No, I do not. I was given 5 discs by a guy, a Wall City round bag. For anyone that remembers those, they were just these little satchels. Had they could carry maybe 6 or 7 discs. And I'd actually gotten into disc golf by printing some shirts for a guy that was running a tournament. I had no idea what disc golf was, but I had a screen printing business, and by the time he left my shop, I discounted the price all the way down to free, as long as there was a disc golf lesson and 2 bags of discs for my wife and I. So that was our first experience with disc golf. And in that bag, there was a DX Whippet, and I threw Whippets for a long time. No brand new disc golfer has any business throwing a Whippet, though, in his first round of disc golf. There was also, I think, 3 Lightning discs in there, and I believe a Cyclone 2. And this would have been in the late 90s. But the one that I remember the most, because in fact, after spending many, many years with Dynamic Discs, I threw exclusively Dynamic Disc stuff. And when I got the job with the PDGA, I actually snuck a few of my old favorites back in the bag, one of those being a Whippet. So there's a Whippet back in my bag. And yeah, I remember that DX Whippet disc was something I just thought was the coolest thing ever. Because every time I throw a lid or a regular Frisbee, I was always throwing so hard. It took a while to learn the art of touch with an ultimate type disc, but that Whippet, I could throw it as hard as I wanted, and it was always going to go left for me. So that was always good.
Yeah,
they're
not
amazing.
The most beginner friendly Frisbee.
No, it's not. It'd be like if someone says, "Yeah, I'm starting to play disc golf. Give me a Justice." Yeah, that's not a good deal.
What flavor of Whippet? What flavor of Whippet are you carrying? Are you one of the old DXs, or you got Champion or Star?
The Champion X Whippet. So it's even
with the
a little
ring.
more. No, well, that was the old school one. That those were out like 20 years ago. They just I think it was within a month of when I left Dynamic Discs. I went to the Innova site because my wife's always looking for those 119 weight air blizzard, whatever they call them, discs. But I saw Champion X Whippet, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I looked, and it has a little bit of a different pattern on it, but still, that is one beefy fairway driver.
Heck yeah.
It's a mean one. Yeah, it's a mean one. Old guys like me and Smitty know about the Whippet. I don't know about the young pups like Lucas, but
Heard about it. Never got to throw one.
Hey, my first ace was with a DX Viper. Now that was a salty disc as well. It did skip. Of course it did.
I figured it did.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, Doug. That's question number 1. That's great. Question number 2. They're going to get a little harder for you here.
Okay.
Your dream card. You got four people that you can bring with you. for your fivesome. Any 4 people, living, dead, completely up to you. Who's your 5?
Am I one of the 5?
I'll tell you
Yes.
what. If you want to take one, if you want to take an extra one and go 6, I'll even let you.
Well, that's the only way Smitty would get on the card. So
Wait a minute. He is the executive director of the PDGA. That might be against the
I'm not going
rules.
to upset the boss.
And actually, I will tell you, playing with Smitty has been, we've had an opportunity to play several times over the years, and I was usually on the losing end of it. There might have been a single round sometime where I might have beat you, but I always had good times, regardless of how well or bad I was playing. We just always had a good time. But my dream, I'll tell you, my favorite rounds of golf are with my wife, and I know this is a cop-out, but my wife who loves to play, my daughter, Paige, who you mentioned earlier, my son, Hunter, who is a really good disc golfer himself, but he just never got the complete bug. He still plays whenever we get a chance, but it would be my wife and then my oldest daughter, also Lauren, who lives in Wichita down near you guys. In fact, when I saw Hutch, she works in Hutch, lives in Wichita, but her or my grandkids, that's one of my dream cards. But I think if I had to really pick, I'd love to play disc golf with like Jerry Garcia, Sheryl Crow. That'd be cool to play some disc golf with Sheryl Crow.
Okay.
Bob Dylan. I'd love to get some frisbees into Bob Dylan's hand, and probably Billy Bob Thornton. I think that would be cool to see him throw some frisbees. We actually saw him at the Granada, and I got a Dimax made with his picture on it. And we went backstage when he has got a band called the Boxmasters, and he signed the disc. He said, "I've never signed a frisbee before." And he looked at my wife and said, "How are you doing, sweetheart?" I started not liking him as much after that. But,
That
Yep.
is absolutely. First of all, you're more than you can take your family at any time. We always allow that, but the other group is extremely eclectic. I'm almost positive that is the first reference to any of those 4 people in this show's history.
For sure.
Well, and plus, I don't think any of them play, which gives me a fighter's chance of maybe winning the card.
Stack a W. It's like that sounds good to me.
And after your first throw, they're all going to be like,
Yeah.
This guy, yeah.
yeah.
Billy
Smart
Bob
move.
has to stay only in Sling Blade character as well.
That's some potted birdie.
That's awesome. All right, this one, a lot of people say, "Oh, gosh, how am I supposed to answer that?"
I know, Doug.
Last question. Favorite disc golf memory?
Favorite disc golf memory? Yeah, Smitty, the bison chip toss is obviously up there towards the top. But in the fall of 2018, there was a Professional World Disc Golf Championship played in Vermont at Smuggler's Notch, and I had the opportunity to be the UDisc scorer. This was when UDisc first came on the scene, and I scored every round that my daughter played that weekend. My wife caddied for her every round. So under the current rules, I don't know if you remember back then, it was very common to have a posse on every card, like everyone associated with a pro would be like following them around. Fortunately, with paid spectators hitting the scene, we now limit the number of people that can be inside the ropes, so the spectators actually have something to see other than just a gaggle of people following a group of disc golfers. But we had a small gaggle following that card, and we actually had 2 roles, like one is a caddy, one is the scorekeeper, and to see her win that event was easily my favorite disc golf memory, just watching her. And you always dream that your kids do special things, and all 3 of my kids are awesome, and they all have so many different talents. But Paige really took the disc golf bug and followed in her mom and I's footsteps as far as wanting to play tournaments all the time. And she'd go through phases when she was young, like, I don't want to play anymore. But then, 2 weeks later, she'd play again. But that's easily my favorite memory, to see now Paige Shue, but she was Paige Bjerkaas at the time, win the 2018 FPO World Championship.
Thought that might be it. It's pretty. Yeah, pretty. 2 of us here are already parents, and Lucas is on his way, right? So
Yep.
It would. I don't know how Smitty. I mean, there's no way it would be anything other than other than that for either one of us, if I, for something like that. So for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Doug.
Yeah, I'm extremely jealous of both Doug and Ronnie because Doug's family plays, Ronnie's kids, kind of like Ronnie, come in and out of retirement and play. My kids hate disc golf.
But do they still like fishing?
One of them does.
Yeah.
And he's an animal, man. He was fishing. I called him today. He was fishing.
Yep.
So
That's cool.
that's his thing. But yeah, they can't stand disc golf.
Yeah.
Hey,
And but that's okay. One thing I've always told people, like I would have loved for my two older kids to have gotten more active in it, but you can lead your kids to water. They got to drink. And I'm just happy that all my kids have found something that they're passionate about that they can drink. But
sure.
for me, it's always been disc golf. And for my youngest, it's been disc golf. So that's pretty cool.
I think maybe I took them to the water too much when they were little. And I got rid of them. Yeah, that took care of them. Hey, back to that other memory, though, that buffalo chip. Do you remember who all threw it in?
Yes. So I still can't believe that this happened because that wasn't even a shortened hole. That was a legitimate hole at Hayes. I think it's hole one?
It was it's hole one on the Frontier course. It's 15's tee pad to, I don't know what basket that is.
Yeah, but there was so I threw one in. You guys may not know Joel. I know Smitty, you've played with Joel Abrian. Joel Abrian threw one in. Eagle McMahon was this is back when he was a short, fat kid. I shouldn't say that. He's I love Eagle. I know. I love Eagle. And in fact, Eagle and I, whenever I see him, I always give him a hard time and say that his greatest win ever was when he won a Saturday morning Winter Warriors in Denver with me as his random draw partner. But he was a short, stocky kid and, little guy. He threw one in. Paige threw one in. And there were 5 of them, I believe. The other one, I think, oh, man. Now I can't remember the 5th, but on the very next hole where you went and threw under the bridge back over towards Colton Montgomery was with us at the time. And Colton aced that one on the very next hole. It was Joel, Eagle, me, Paige. There was one more because we put 5 of them in that basket. And guys, you guys have both played. You guys have all played Hayes, right?
It's been a long time, but I've been to Hayes. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think that was? $180, 180 feet?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It wasn't like you expect to make it, and it was one of the most surreal moments I've been in as far as experiencing. My personal favorite on the course that I've seen while I was playing memory is absolutely that bison chip, which, and a lot of people, one of the things that I sometimes get a little, a lot of the technological advances that the PDGA has made for tournament directors with tournament manager, and shoot, I would never use a score point or a scoreboard again, just with all the technology that is in the tournament manager and disc golf scene and live scoring and everything. It just makes it so much easier. But what it has done is, shoot, a good TD, the last card can come in and they can be doing awards in like 5 minutes. Well, back in the day, there was you were sitting and waiting, which did 2 things. One, I miss this because it fostered more community at these events.
Absolutely.
You couldn't help but hang out, have a cold Pepsi or a cold beer or something like that, hang out, wait. And everyone was patient about it. Now, if it got over an hour, you started going, what's this clown doing? But, it's, Smitty, you can remember tournaments where it's like 2 hours later, it's pitch black. And of course we were also playing 2 rounds on Saturday, 2 rounds on Sunday. And I think in Hayes, it was always 2 rounds on Saturday and then that monster course on Sunday. But things like we used to set up mini courses at the Mile High Disc Golf Club in Denver, where during that hour between, when everyone comes in, you had something to do. Smitty, I think it was you came up with the bison chip idea, right?
True story.
One of the greatest wait for the TD to get all the awards figured out activity that still allowed that community. And of course, I remember, I think I was wearing flip-flops. It's just kind of really cool to unwind at the end of the tournament. And really, really good experience.
Yeah, that thing's always on the Saturday night. So everybody goes to eat and then they all come back to the course and hang out. But I'm with you, man. I miss a tournament getting done and just everybody just sitting around in their crew, talking, hanging out, just having a blast, man. And
Yep.
they did that this year at the Roundup here in Wichita. They actually had a players meet or an award ceremony and people clapping for you, and Sandbagger came back.
Yep.
Oh man, I miss all of that.
Yep.
And
How'd that tournament end up for you, Chris? I don't remember.
which one?
Roundup.
Oh, I let you win.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah. I didn't want you to retire again.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I miss those days. In fact, one of my memories there, going back to my daughter, the year that the trophy disc or the player pack disc was, I think Ron Rice did the artwork or something. I don't know if you remember, and it was like had an astronaut on it or something. Maybe it was probably 2010, but Paige won, I think, advanced women at the Frontier Open, and the way they did the awards there, it was almost like there was a circle of people around you, and you know, it's cool when you do play well. I've won a few tournaments, usually not ones that Chris plays, but when I won tournaments, it's nice to hear people go, yeah, you know, that's part of what we do as athletes, as people that play sports. We want to celebrate those victories, and I think a little bit of that's gone away with kind of the new technology-driven model of the way tournaments are run. And COVID, we needed that during COVID, and I'm grateful that we did, because had we shut things down, in fact, I think I don't know if you guys recall, but even the PDGA, I think, came out at one point and said, you guys shouldn't go play disc golf. That's what you should do during COVID, is you should go play disc golf. So anyways, you got pros and you got cons with everything.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I miss, and Ronnie and I have talked about this 100 times, is Final Nines.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nothing better than watching the four dudes who are playing the best play 9 more holes in front of everybody. And there's no going and getting your payout, sneaking out the back, because they're saying, oh yeah, you get your payout when we're done with the final 9.
Yep. And final 9s oftentimes gave the TDs that opportunity to get all those other divisions sorted out while people are watching the final 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
So,
I do miss that.
So much fun to watch, so much fun to play in as well.
Yep. I tell you something else that I miss, but again, this is where disc golf is at this crossroads, where we're going from that family reunion style event, which I think is, we need to keep it at the C tier, B tier, you know, at those levels. But then the stakes are so much higher now for professional disc golfers that you've got to, it can't just be a family reunion anymore.
Right.
There's got to be, you got to pay attention to some things. So, it's funny to see how disc golf has changed over the years, but it's still the most awesome thing in the world as far as I'm concerned. You know, you take a disc, you put it on a line, you know, and Chris has heard me say this, all of my shots are perfect right up until they leave my hand. Once they leave my hand, it's not quite sure what they're going to do, but there's something just really, really satisfying. And I remember I played ball golf for a while. I played lacrosse when I was younger on the East Coast, and those sports are fun. But, you know, in ball golf, you know, you hit a shot and it does exactly what you want it to do. You're like, oh my gosh. But you get an opportunity to do that more with disc golf. I also think you talk about, you know, the one of the hidden gems of why I think disc golf is such a great activity for people to play is that, you know, really the and I've said this many times, the actual act of throwing the disc, the athletic event while you're playing a tournament might take 5, maybe 8% of your time. The rest of that time, you're walking, you're talking, you're not on your phone, well, unless you're keeping score. You know, you're you're just interacting with human beings, and you know, I can't. You know, Chris and I don't think you and I have done much interaction other than on disc golf courses.
Yep.
And I consider you a good friend. You know, just, you know, it's and that came from that. You know, if Ronnie, you and I went out and, you know, decided to play a pickup basketball game or hit ground strokes on a tennis court, it's really hard to say, hey, how are your kids?
Yeah.
You know, how's things going? You know, it's a little tougher, but with disc golf, you absolutely get that opportunity. I went off on a tangent. I'll get
No,
back
that's great. No, we love when
Absolutely.
the guest takes over.
Yeah.
We love it.
I would say as slow as I get up and down the basketball court these days, we could probably have all the conversations you want.
Oh man. So, Doug, I got a question for you. Do you remember your first ever PDGA win?
No.
No,
I've got about 20 of them.
I didn't write down the number, but that's probably about right. It happened in 1998.
Was it in Fargo, North Dakota?
Nope, it was it may have been, but PDGA only went back to 98. West Texas Tango.
A doubles tournament that I won with my wife, a mixed doubles tournament.
That's
right.
sick.
Yep.
To win it with your wife, your first win, that's awesome.
Yeah, and just like in most of my life, she carries me. So,
well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
her putt must have been on that day.
Yeah, we went down to Mexico 2 weekends ago, and I played in a tournament down there. Which, Chris, unfortunately, every one of my rounds the rating started with a looks kind of like a snowman, which is just foreign territory to it's just. But I'm getting older, and I'm just not. Most of the playing I'm doing now is casual, fun disc golf, and I need to get back and start competing again because it is fun. But yeah, that mixed doubles tournament, I do remember that. It was at Cal Young Park, the course where I learned how to play disc golf.
Did you live in Texas then at that point?
Yep, that's where I met my wife. All my kids were born. In fact, every time I hear Abilene, Kansas mentioned, I think of Abilene, Texas, which is where I lived for a while and met my wife. All of our kids were born there. I played there. We then moved to the Fort Worth area, lived there for about 5 years. And then I was recruited to go take a job in Denver. We decided we wanted to leave Texas. I was in Denver for 10 years and then Emporia now for over 8 years. So, but disc golf started for me in Texas. And I sometimes kick myself. I wish I would have discovered it earlier because I think I was 29 or 30 when I first threw a disc.
Well, you had to stumble across it at that time, right? You had to meet somebody or get lucky and see it in a park. Now, I mean, it's hard to find a person that doesn't know what disc golf is now.
But that is so refreshing because I used to always say, okay, so we throw these things, they're like Frisbees, a little smaller. You've seen these baskets, they got chains in them, and the object is to get it in there in as few throws as possible.
Right.
I haven't told that story in forever.
You don't miss that conversation?
No, I also don't miss going to Expo Park in Denver and seeing tinfoil in the chains and what remained of barbecued chicken. Who in their right mind would think that is something that you cook chicken in?
I mean, I bet you
they
can
are
hang
good
a
for
chicken.
birdies, just not those birdies. So,
Yeah.
So awesome. So yeah, what you moved to Denver in what, like 07-ish or?
Yep. 06. And that's when the kids really, because you talk about taking your kids out. I tried taking the kids out when we were in Texas. And unfortunately, all the courses that we played also were adjacent to many, many other park uses like playgrounds. And Paige sees a sliding board. Oh, I'm done with that, but when we moved to Denver, they were both, my two younger kids were a little older. And my wife and I, we'd only played probably 10 rounds in a 5-year stretch because the kids were all in soccer, Little League baseball, all the little things little kids do. And of course, as a parent, you guys that are parents understand that you got to do those things for your kids, and that sometimes eats into your stuff. But then when we moved to Denver, we went to Expo Park and I remember taking Hunter and Paige there and said, hey, let's give this a shot. And they both played 18 holes. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I'd be lucky to get 3 holes out of them when I was trying to teach them how to play. And they just fell in love with it. And it was nothing about form. It was all about fun. We let them buy discs. There was a retail disc golf shop in Denver. It's closed now, called Dogleg Discs. And every Saturday they could go in and buy 1 disc. And we didn't, like, if Paige saw some tie-dyed, super stable disc that she thought was pretty, we just said, take it, that'll be your disc. But they were definitely into how the discs looked first. And then they started getting more serious. And both of them just have a very natural smooth throw. And Paige, you know, she's just got a really smooth, and right from the start, she was throwing discs flat, and she was also playing smart. I remember when she was taking her out, she was probably 10 or 11 years old, hole 2 at Expo. And if any of the people listening to this fantastic Wind Dummy podcast, if they've ever been in Aurora, Colorado, outside of Denver to play Expo, hole 2 is about 180-foot carry over a pond, or you can throw around the pond. And Paige, she just took her medicine and said, nope, I'm not throwing it over that pond. And because it was 1 disc a week. Now, if it were 5 discs a week we were buying her, she probably won't for that pond. But she was always smart at like playing golf, unlike her dad, who thinks he can hit every line and every long shot on the planet. She knew what she could do, and she played within herself. And I think that's actually one of the reasons she did so well at that World Championship is, you know, if you guys happen to watch any of that, I mean, she threw a lot of putters off the tee. Just this is my safest, best way to attack this hole. And to me, it's usually, okay, what driver am I throwing? And, you know, I need to throw it as far as I can. And that's not golf. That's just being an idiot, which I'm about 1,020 rated at being an idiot. So that's pretty good.
So I did find an interesting tournament in your tournament history, the 09 Johnny Roberts Memorial. I don't know if you remember this, but you put the hurting on a couple of future super pros at that event. You whooped up on Eagle, big time whooped up on Eagle, and you also beat up on Goose. So
yeah. Keep in mind they were prepubescent. No, actually, they were touring pros. Actually,
You didn't have to tell the listening audience that.
no.
One of them was MJ2, and the other
Yep.
was MJ3. So I don't remember what the age breakdown was for 2 and 3, but you got them. You beat them by like 20.
Yeah, those were the days, man. That Mile High disc golf scene, all those kids. I bet you I've played on 10 cards in my time in Colorado where I was on a card playing MP40. Jeff Panis, Colorado guy before he moved out to California, worked for Innova. Tim Gossage, who is Aaron's father. Jeff Panis is obviously Kona's father. Pat McMahon. Boy, I've played a ton of golf with Pat McMahon. In fact, Pat's been out to Frontier Park. In fact, he was with us when the Bison Chip thing went to. He might have been the other one to throw it in. So, anyways, Pat McMahon and myself, and we had no idea that at some point there'd be, you know, disc golf trading cards with Paige Shue, Kona Panis, Eagle McMahon, and Aaron Gossage on them. I mean, they were just our kids, and they wanted to play tournaments, and we were like stoked that they were playing tournaments because it made it a lot easier for us to play tournaments when your kids want to play them. And if you've ever played in Colorado, the courses out there's some great mountain courses, and they turn some ski slopes into some pretty cool courses. But the quality of the courses, there's far better courses in other parts of the country. But the people, that Mile High Disc Golf Club, man, we would make pilgrimages to places like Hayes or to McCook, Nebraska to play tournaments. And yeah, those were the days. But yeah, I appreciate you pointing out that I did beat up on those two guys. Yeah.
Well, it didn't last long. Eagle got you the next year. So, and then I noticed in 2015, tournament play pretty much ceased for you. Is that when you moved to Emporia?
Yep. I moved to Emporia in 2016 in January, and I knew we were moving there. And I've tried to play at least one tournament every year. But yeah, it's been it's weird. I play more casually now than I used to play, because when I was playing a lot of tournaments, I was, you know, the casual rounds, you were like, wait, I need to dial this shot in. Let me throw 3 more. Or, you know, it was always trying to get better, not just enjoying the disc golf. Yeah. It's How many other disc golfers does your mom know, Chris? I keep looking at that thing.
She knows Brandon Mace.
Okay, she's clearly wise. But anyways, I ran into Brian Mace out at the USDGC this year. It's always good to see that guy. But yeah, I've been playing. In fact, I think the last three of the last four sanctioned events I played have been in Mexico, and I think I threw in a Monkey Island Open in there at some point in the last couple of years. But yeah, and I want to play more. And I mean, it's true. You work in something that used to be your hobby. Even though I love disc golf, and people that work in disc golf, it's a dream job. There's no dream job. There's some awesome jobs, and I have an awesome job, but it's still a job. And it does. You're around disc golf all day, and it's a nice evening on a Wednesday night. And you're thinking, what do I want to do? And you've spent all day doing things related to disc golf. Sometimes you're like, yeah, maybe I won't play disc golf tonight. And that's kind of where I'm at. But the casual play, which, by the way, I think there's so many more casual disc golfers out there that the PDGA and the in the know disc golfers that know about all the big events and who the world champions are and things like that. I don't think anybody's got that number estimated correctly, because I'm sure it's the same way in your courses. You probably see people on courses every time you play, and you're like, who are these people? I remember in Denver, I'd show up at a course, and I know them, and that's not the case anymore. So
right, yep. And our courses here in town never sleep. You could probably go out there now, and somebody's probably putting or playing, one of the two.
Yep. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We're still, I remind people of this all the time, though. We're still, in fact, I think it was Brian Mace. Now we got another Mace reference in here that made a statement way back when, where he goes, I think disc golfers think we're a whole lot cooler than we actually are. Like, we're not as cool as we think we are. And sometimes I have to remind myself as we think about growing the sport, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. And not just tournament disc golf, but just getting more and more people out there throwing frisbees into baskets. But I lost my train of thought. Still thinking about my mom's favorite disc golfer up there. The help me out here. What was I about to say?
Brian Mace.
Brian Mace. Yes, we're cooler than we think we are. If you took every active PDGA member and put them in an NFL stadium, it would overflow. Put them in a second NFL stadium, and we couldn't fit both. We'd have empty seats. And that's where, yes, we're growing and we're bigger, but we also need to kind of take a step back and go, there's still a lot of work to do. And ball golf is still, so many more people play ball golf, which is a pain in the neck to play. As compared to disc golf, they still play. There's more ball golfers than disc golfers. But I see that. I think in my lifetime, I think we could see a switch there, just because of the economics and the smaller footprint that's needed for a disc golf course as opposed to a ball golf course. There's economics involved. But that's my hope. That's my goal.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know if we're going to have a good time for this. So I think we should just go ahead and tell the story of stepping stones for these other guys. I don't think they know. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Doug has no peripheral vision, right? Straightforward.
Yep. And this way too, which a lot of people don't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This way too. It's a tunnel. So I haven't driven a car in 27 years. It's a retinitis pigmentosa. It's a hereditary disease, and it just kind of, you lose all your peripheral vision. I have terrible night vision as well. That's a byproduct of the eye disease, but it stops at some point. My dad also has it, and him and I have about the same range of vision, which we can see perfectly what's right in front of us. But I can't tell you how many times I've missed people's high fives or handshakes or things like that. And they're like, man, that guy must be a jerk. And they're right. But for other reasons than my vision. So, but yeah. So you want to finish the story?
And then you can, if I miss anything, you can add it in. Do you guys know what the stepping stone hole is in Hayes?
Yeah,
Yes.
that short little right over the creek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me jump in. Do you know that was there a guardrail built pad kind of to protect people? Like
We call that
guy?
we call that the Bjerkaas handrail. So I threw and walked off to the side. Doug throws,
Follows
and
through.
yeah, and I'm walking on down, to take the steps down, and I hear, and I look over, and Doug is just sliding down the hill, the cliff. He didn't know there was a cliff there, and he just walked right off of that sucker.
Yeah. Finish the round. Finish the round.
Right in the middle of the tournament.
Come back the next year, and they've built this guardrail around the tee box to keep people from following through and eating dirt.
Yeah, it was a big fall.
Yep, that's a good memory. Hey, if you can't laugh at yourself, there's no need to laugh. So I could imagine, had I seen it, let's switch it around. Had Chris done that? Oh, I'd been laughing hard.
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
I would have busted both ankles, been laying in the heat down there. Have you ever been with me, Doug, when I broke an ankle?
No.
I've seen this guy fall more than the stock market.
It sure feels like they're broken.
Oh, wow.
Snap them over.
No, well, I'll know that maybe I need to, bring like a little disc retriever stick and beat you on the ankles the next time I see you to loosen them up or something.
Just roll a walnut out in front of me.
Yeah.
It's
better than those big horse apples or whatever those things they had out there.
Hedge apple?
Yeah, hedge apple.
You can miss those. It's those little bitty things that get me. I busted my ankle standing on snow 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Ronnie saw it.
Was he like, turning quick to see something that happened, or maybe a bald eagle flew right at him or something? Wow, what's going on? No, he was just standing there having a conversation.
The snow broke.
Have to call paramedics. I've seen him do this so many times. It's hilarious. 20 seconds after it happens, and you realize that this is the time I'm gonna have to pick him up and carry him to the hospital.
Yep.
Not yet. I'm a trooper though. I walk it off. Gives me an excuse for a few holes.
Did you break an ankle in Flagstaff? Because you talk about keeping an eye on the ground as you're walking around those courses.
Yeah, I did the whole time. I'm not even kidding. And have my hands out.
Yep. It was one of the roughest terrains, and every course was the same. It seemed like every course had that same, take a look at these landmines.
Yeah. I only saw 2 courses while I was there.
Yeah. I was the marker for, you only played which ones? Both the Little America courses?
Little America and Little America. Thorpe.
That's right. Carlos Rigby, he won the MP 80 division. He was out there, and they had 3 to start their division after 1 hole, I think, on day 1. One of them bailed. And so now they had 2, which means by PDGA rules, you have to have a marker on the card. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but the marker can actually play. Now, in this case, I was the marker, and of course I can't play, but I could have played. But I thought that would have been weird to just actually be throwing those holes, because I might have a fighter's chance against Carlos Rigby to beat an 80-year-old, but probably not even in that case. But that poor guy, he's playing those courses, and I'm walking with him, and what a trooper. But it takes, disc golf is, they say 90% of it's played between your ears. And I do believe, in fact, this might be how Chris won his world title out there. Everyone else was so focused on their footwork and making sure they weren't falling. They didn't have enough, aptitude to actually think about strategy and so on and so forth. Chris is out there going, I'm going to break an ankle anyways. I might as well just focus on the disc golf.
Going for it, baby.
Championship.
I'll say this, that was the first time I've ever been to and I've been playing, 25 years. That was the first time I've ever been to an event in stamina and physical aptitude was really a factor. I mean, the first 2 days when we got there and we were getting acclimated to the elevation and the heat that week, the heat was so bad that week.
Yep.
It was, I mean, I'll tell you what, that 14-hour drive on the way home at the end of the week was pretty relaxing because, I mean, I was wore out.
I noticed he slept half the way home.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with after strenuous disc golf, getting in a car, you're just like, but man, getting out of the car like a few hours later, that is a beating. Yeah. You're like, I thought I used to bend this way.
It was rough terrain out there. You know, Doug, there was only a couple places on any of the courses where I really struggled. There was 2 holes in particular at Little America that I didn't really care for. The ones with the pine trees in the middle of the fairway that were about waist high. It kind of randomized the lies a little bit. Other than that, Little America I thought was a fine course, and Thorpe was fantastic. But man, climbing that big hill for me, I'm too old and too fat for all that stuff these days. That was work. I was glad I had some canned oxygen, or I might not have made it.
Yeah. There's a lot of courses in Colorado in the mountains that have some pretty big hikes, and you literally you get up to the tee box that you've just hiked up. You know, you scaled the side of a mountain, and there's always that one guy that's in perfect shape. Why aren't we throwing? Well, because I can't breathe. We're not throwing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the whole Ronnie's talking about at Thorpe, you would throw a full drive up, and then you would lay up with the mid-range and hopefully have a putt. Then you'd walk over 50 feet and throw a putter 500 foot downhill.
Yep.
That putt on that hole, that was the hardest putt for me those rounds that whole weekend or that whole week, because by the time I got there, I'd hiked up that hill. I'd already thrown 2 shots. You get to that putt, I have no air. I'm just I'm hoping to have a tap in, and both times I had 30 footers.
Yep.
Did you make him?
I made one of them.
Okay.
See, here's what I look at when I see a 30-footer. I'm thinking, awesome, I get to putt twice.
Most of the time I do too, Doug. That's why only one of us won a world championship.
Yeah, I want to putt as few times as possible.
Hey, Chris, on a serious note, I know I've been picking on you a little bit, and of course we've done that ever since we've known each other, but I was so moved. In fact, Jeff Jacqua was supposed to give the trophy out, and when you came in and you won, I said to Jeff, hey, I usually, and I'm not one for being in the spotlight or anything like that, but I said this one would be really meaningful if I could give this guy his trophy. And I still think back on that, and your disc golf journey, my disc golf journey, and for you to be a world champion, man, you're so deserving of it too, because you are a grinder, and you play and you play and you play, and not only that, and a lot of people may not, well, people from Wichita know this, but I told some friends about you, and I said, yeah, he's a great disc golfer, but man, this guy hustles to grow the sport, to run tournaments. I was down there in, and still, I still have a problem with the state of Kansas pronouncing El Dorado, but in El Dorado, you ran a little, I don't know if it was, I think it was non-sanctioned maybe.
I don't remember, but it was it was sanctioned. I think it was during COVID.
Yeah, I know that
right
was
at
on
the
a
end of
card
it.
with you and Scott
Grady.
Yep, that's right. We came down there, and but everything you do for the sport, and even a lot of people don't know, you were pretty important part of Dynamic Discs back in the early days too. I mean, you've always you're not just a taker that goes out and plays tournaments. And there are some really good pros that they're not going to lift a finger to do much other than throw frisbees. And what you've done ever since I've known you, which has been probably 15 years or so, I appreciate what you do for the sport. So I almost think your volunteer coordinator, tournament director, all of that stuff, you're as talented there as you are as a discer. So now I really know why you're
what a
mom's
compliment.
favorite discer.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I appreciate that a ton. Yep. So should we get into some viewer or fan questions for Doug?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So these came from several places, Doug: Facebook, messages to us, email, whatever. And we just kind of collected them here, and they're kind of in just no particular order, but we'll hit you with a few of them and see what you think. Okay. First one, and I like this one a lot. It says, do you think that the PDGA needs to stay involved with the Disc Golf Pro Tour to stay relevant long term? Do they need to keep that marriage between the two?
That's a great question. I do think there needs to be a little bit of a connection there, because the touring professionals obviously have the Disc Golf Pro Tour to compete on, but they also, they want to win major championships, and that is something that is under the purview of the PDGA. So I think if we were to completely split off into two different entities, I don't know if that would be good for the sport. I think that whether a touring professional is playing Pro Worlds or the Champions Cup or the European Open, the same expectations should be set when they're playing MVP or the Preserve or the Des Moines Challenge or the Dynamic Disc Open or whatever it may be. So we do. I meet with Jeff Spring in my initial role as the director of operations, and now continuing in my new role, I meet with him once a week, and we're always talking and working on ways to improve what we're both doing, both the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But I think right now, I don't see a time. Now I don't have a crystal ball. You never know what's going to happen in the future, but I see us being connected as they are the official professional tour of the PDGA as well. So we're connected.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's important to stay
Speaking
together.
of those majors that you brought up, Doug, how do you plan to try to get more bids for majors than you currently get? I know there's a lot of situations where that's really, it might be hard to get a bid for the major championships that the PDGA hosts.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. Well, when I was at Dynamic Discs, I would get phone calls. We would get phone calls sometimes going, "Hey, you guys want to run a major?" We didn't have anybody, But I think the tide is turning. I mean, especially with these CVBs and these sports commissions in communities, they're really getting the perfect bid is a CVB, a Convention and Visitors Bureau of a city, or the Sports Commission, partnering with a local disc golf club or someone that can be the tournament director, and collectively the two of them submit the bid. And this past year, we had 4 bids for Pro Worlds. We had 2 bids for Masters Worlds. We had 6 bids for U.S. Women's. We had 5 bids for the Amateur Worlds. We didn't have any bids for juniors because that was a package deal that 25 juniors was already awarded. Tim Solinsky, we had 4 bids. It was a good collection of bids. So now what we can't control is where those bids are coming from. We get a lot of folks, you need more tournaments on the West Coast, more majors on the West Coast. Or I had someone call me and go, "Why isn't there a major in British Columbia in Canada?" I'm going, I would love to see a major in British Columbia in Canada, but there's got to be a group that wants to run it and put a bid in. So I would encourage anybody that is listening that's in an area and they think, why don't we have a major? Why don't we have a major? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, you've got to have the right courses and the right people to be able to do it, but then you also need to submit a bid. And if more communities could do that, I think we'd have more options for where we were competing for these major championships.
It's an off-script question. Doug, just in general, how many volunteers does it take to run a professional major? Or not even a professional major, an amateur major?
Like Masters Worlds probably needs more volunteers than anyone because there's so many divisions and so many courses that are at play. In fact, I think the most challenging major right now to run in the PDGA is Masters Worlds, because it's actually 2, officially, if you guys will recall, it's actually 2 tournaments running side by side, the professional Masters Disc Golf Championship and then the amateur. And with those being held together, that probably takes the most volunteers. A Pro Worlds, a lot of it depends on the course. There's some courses that need 5 spotters. There's some courses that need 15 spotters. When you have FPO or MPO at a major, you then have this layer of spectators. Not a lot of spectators at Masters Worlds. I think that I do think we're going to see a slow growth in the potential of paid spectators at high level Masters events. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, there were some big names in Flagstaff. I mean, Cale Levesque was playing, Joe Revere. Who's that guy from Wichita? Chris Smith. There's lots of people, but not like if you go to a Pro Tour event where disc golf fans today can probably recognize somebody on every single card that's going through.
Right.
But all of those folks are going to age, and I think that these names that real disc golf folks know who Joe Revere is. I mean, he's a very talented disc golfer. I had the opportunity to play some disc golf with him when I was in Colorado, but he wasn't playing. He was always one of the top 10 rated disc golfers in the world for a while there, but there wasn't really spectating. There wasn't a lot of live coverage. You didn't get to know these people. And I think once those people that are already well known get to be 40, 50, I think you're going to see more of that at something like Masters Worlds. But right now, we tell people running Masters Worlds, don't worry about spectating. Don't worry about paid tickets. We're not there yet. But for Pro Worlds, Champions Cup, European Open, U.S. Women's that have an FPO or an MPO field, the money that comes in from paid spectators has been game changing. I mean, as someone who ran big events for a while, I could only dream of. I mean, we started in Emporia the spectator. You could sign up as a spectator. It didn't give you any spectating benefit because anybody can go. You could just go to the course and watch, but they got special discs and stuff like that. But I sat there and I can remember having a conversation with Jeremy and saying, I wonder if people would ever pay to watch this. Would people pay? We're like, well, maybe, at some point, but never did I think that hundreds of thousands of dollars in spectator revenue would come in to help run an event. And if you're a TD, I mean, gone are the days when that local plumber giving you $100 was the high point of you raising funds for your tournament. Spectating in itself can generate a lot of revenue. So to get back to your question, how many volunteers do you need? I bet you in Vermont there were, when you think about statisticians, the scorers that do the shot by shot tracking of stats, you talk about all the spotters, talk about parking folks, spectator, kind of concierges, if you will. I think they probably had about 140, 150 volunteers.
Yeah,
Crazy.
That seems right.
Yep.
And you guys, when you were at DD, are really pretty responsible for, I feel like, setting the bar so high. Like when GBO was all one big event and we were all over Emporia and we had so many people, you guys were paying people vouchers to come and spot. And I'm like, these sons of a guns are doing this. And I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah. Those days when the GBO was the biggest single site tournament and we broke the record a year, maybe 2 or 3 years in a row. And then of course, Peoria, and it's funny because I work very closely with Nate Heinold now. And it's kind of flattering to hear him and some of his staff say that, one of the things they did in Peoria was, okay, what are they doing in Emporia? We got to do that. And of course, Peoria is such a bigger town and has probably 10 times the number of hotels that Emporia has. The limiting factor for size of tournaments in Emporia is places to sleep. And that just, we got it as big as we could. And I'm very proud of those days running those national tour Glassblown Opens and 2016 Pro Worlds. It was a different time. In fact, that 2016 Pro Worlds, and Chris, I think you were kind of MP40. You were in the conversation at that Emporia Worlds in 2016. In fact, were you leading it after a round or two?
I led it most of the week actually, and then had a couple bad holes. And I still should have won the dang thing. I watched the final 9 once in a while. And
yep.
It sends me to the backyard for putting practice.
Yeah. That was the last year that Masters level age, the age protected pros played with the younger guys. Now, and it's also one of that World Championship. Very proud to run that. it was just a ton of fun. Ricky Wysocki won his first.
Mhm.
Valerie Jenkins won her
Yep.
fourth and final. My biggest regret was, and again, I tell tournament directors this all the time, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying very hard, but you learn from your mistakes as a TD. Well, I don't know if any of you guys remember Peter Shive. Rest his soul, great guy. I played a lot of disc golf with Peter. I think he has like 12 world titles in like the MP 65, 70, 80, whatever it might be. We had their division go out. I was thinking, I'm going to make them the feature group out at the country club. They're going to be the last group to go off because I'm going to give them some respect, put them out there. Peter later told me that I almost killed him by having him play in the heat of, July or August heat in Emporia. And ever since that point, if I ever run a tournament that has MP80s in it, they're teeing off when it's, the sun is barely coming up so they get some cool weather. So I don't have another legend in the game tell me that I almost killed them.
Well, they've already been awake for 2 hours when the sun comes up.
That's right.
All right, let's see. What else do we have here?
Here, I got one.
All right, hit it.
So, Doug, I know you've talked about how growing the sport is the biggest thing for you. You mentioned it with your awesome fivesome of the most random assortment of people. People that we wouldn't even think to put in the hands of discs in the hands of. But where do you see the need for growth in the community and the sport to have it make another leap like it did after COVID?
I think there's two things to do. Well, there's three things to do. One is the international growth is happening. It's the international growth right now is at higher levels than the U.S. growth right now. So it's really taking on in other countries, specifically in Europe. Obviously, all the Scandinavian countries have, it is exciting to see that growth. So I think the PDGA needs to continue to think about our sport, not just as Kansas or the Midwest or North America, but it is all over the globe. And we just need to be cognizant of that. Many of you guys might have followed some of the rescheduling of the Champions Cup and some of the fiascos that we ran into with that exercise. I mean, shame on us. I mean, you can't just look at the U.S. schedule anymore. You need to look at the global schedule to see if you're in conflict with other events. So that's number one. Number two, I think we need to up the game on the scholastic academic kids age golf, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, or college. And I think that's where programs need to be put into place, organized, official. Hey, we're going to get disc golf into more schools. We're going to give them a competitive option to compete against other schools. And different states have some pretty robust club level high school disc golf programs. But, I think if we can get all of that together and coordinated, I think we'll see more kids playing disc golf, which is super important. I mean, think about it. I played flag football in elementary school. I played basketball in elementary school. We played kickball or baseball or softball on a baseball diamond. I mean, I was exposed at a very early age to all the major sports. We need the same thing for disc golf, and it's growing. It is happening. The Sakibom Foundation, Ricky Wysocki's foundation, in the first year that was run, all 50 states had at least one school that got a basket and 50 putters. And again, it's just doing that. But we can't do it. We can't just send a basket and discs to a school and expect the magic to happen. It's the same thing with putting a new course in the ground. You can't just plant a course somewhere and go, oh, that's going to grow disc golf here. You also have to have the people that are going to commit to it. Not, our biggest fear when I was part of the Sakibom Foundation was sending a basket, 50 discs, and they end up in a closet somewhere in the back of a gymnasium collecting dust. That does nothing to grow the sport. But a teacher, a gym teacher that is passionate about it and goes, yeah, there's value in this. And I can share this with the kids and everyone can do it. It's got all the, so many good things about our sport. I mean, do any of you guys play ball golf? Stick golf?
I played scratch for a long time, Doug.
Okay. I remember the first time I was going to play in a scramble, and ball golf scrambles are, you have an A, a B, a C, a D player. I was always the C or the D player, but you play as a big group, and I was so nervous you get in front of a golf ball and you're sitting over it and you're like, oh my gosh, please don't top this thing. Don't slice this thing. Don't. And why am I talking about all these things? Because I've been told I shouldn't even think that I'm not going to be successful, but okay, I'm going to be successful. No, I'm not. You're going through this whole thing. Everyone's throwing a Frisbee. I mean, how many people get up to the hole one on a disc golf course and go, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Now they may not look very good doing it, but it's kids. Throwing a Frisbee is simple. You don't have to be built a certain way. You don't have to be a certain size, a shape, a gender, anything. It's just you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's number two. Really focusing on programs, and you're going to see the PDGA in the upcoming years. We've got some plans in place and some really good ideas to continue using programs to grow disc golf with kids and all the way up to college disc golf. I don't think programs are the answer though for adults. And I think everyone on this call probably didn't have some program. I didn't look at a flyer on a disc golf course that said clinic, show up Saturday and learn how to play disc golf. It was an individual that in a one-on-one fashion said, hey Doug, I want to show you this sport. I'm willing to take you out and show you disc golf. And I mean, I don't want to sound so, cliche, but it changed my life. I mean, I wish that all of us would embrace that and say, hey, this year I'm going to find two people that I know and I'm going to take them out for a round of disc golf and understand that, I'm going to show them the sport and I'm going to be there and give them a few tips here and there. I always tell people, and I said this earlier in this podcast, is that, when people first start playing, focus on the fun, not the form. You spend too much time on the form, they're going to get pissed off. It's like my first ball golf lesson where, oh, do this. I'm like, I'm going to need like a computer to think through all these things that they're trying to tell me. Where sometimes you just got to go swing a club, or you got to throw a Frisbee, or throw a disc. And I really think that's the answer. And I think, it's kind of sounds silly, but if everyone were to do that and everyone were to take, say, two people out, and let's say 1 out of 10 of everyone that was taken out becomes a competitive disc golfer, we're going to suddenly grow our membership by 25, 30%. But it takes people doing that. So I'd encourage everyone that's listening. I'd encourage you three guys to, I do this all the time. And that's another, I do play a lot of rounds of golf with people that haven't played before. And I'll talk to somebody I meet, or, hey, you want to go play disc golf? And what's disc golf? Well, they don't ask that much anymore, as we talked about earlier, but take them out and see if they have fun. Some will love it, some won't, but guess what? You'll never know if somebody doesn't take them out to play disc golf. It's so much easier to do something that's new if you're with somebody that knows you and is there with you, as opposed to, had Noemi and I gone out and said, ooh, look at the course. Okay, let's go buy these discs. I don't know what they do. Okay, we'll just do all this. Just give me all the whippets. I'm going to, put this bag together, and now I'm going to throw. And by the way, signage at courses, and you guys know this, you guys have played for a while. Signage at courses 20 years ago, half the battle of playing a new course was finding your way around the course. Like, where's this hole? You'd walk like 4 times as much as you needed to walk, just because you were trying to find baskets and tee boxes. Had I done that with my wife, we would have gotten frustrated and been like, this is stupid. Where are we going? It's just, that's what we need to do. And I bet you, if you ask 10 random disc golfers that are adults that learned the game when they were adults, how did you learn about disc golf? It's going to be, somebody showed me the game. Somebody invited me out. Somebody asked me if I could play. So that's my theory on the growth of disc golf.
I'm just smiling because when I worked at Newton in the computer lab, first of all, I knew nothing about computers. I just needed a job, and they hired me. So about a week into it, I was like, dude, you are screwed, man. You got to get in good. So the IT guys came over. And there's this big, tall guy named Lee. And I just started talking to him. And I convinced him to come play disc golf with me, right? From that day on, the entire time I was at Newton, if I had any computer problems, I would just say, hey, Lee, something's going on over here, man. Boom, right into my room. And yeah, he's a go-getter now, too. He just ran a food drive last weekend, and he loves the game. And yeah, it's that it would be cool to do some sort of an event where the rules were you had to bring somebody new that had never played
Oh, I love that.
and just get a bunch of people together. And I don't know if you could convince somebody to give all the new players a disc of some sort, a putter or, a standard mid-range. I think
only
that
knew
could
a
be a
guy.
really cool event.
Yep. No, that and we need more of that. We definitely need more of that. You used your example of Lee getting turned on to disc golf. Keith Krause up in Emporia. I went to church with the guy when I first moved to Emporia, and this is back when Dynamic Disc used to promote Grow Disc Golf Day, and it was a specific day each year that was going to be the Grow Disc Golf Day. We ended up trashing that and going, why limit it to one day? Let's grow disc golf every day. But one of the ideas was get a group of people in a circle and take them out to play disc golf. So I invited about 8 people from my church to go out and play. We show up. Noemi and I did a quick little demo where we said, hey, this is how you do it. You can throw, by the way, you can throw backhand, throw forehand, throw it overhand. You can throw it on the ground and roll it. You don't worry about how you get the disc to move. You just need to move it towards that basket. And Keith came out, was retired in his mid 60s, and he fell in love with the game and maintains the New Life church course there in Emporia. He now works for the city of Emporia as the disc golf superintendent in the parks department. He is the most volunteers all the time to do stuff. And guess what? And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but had I not said, hey, Keith, you want to check out disc golf? He may never have stumbled upon it. So, yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's cool.
Well,
stuff,
it's like,
man.
and like Smitty and I, excuse me, we've said this countless times, even on this podcast. I mean, some of the best friends of my entire life came from this sport, right? I mean,
yep.
It's you meet people in this sport, and one thing about not usually those people don't always go away, right? Some do and some don't, but yeah, it's a community unlike anything else I've ever been a part of, right? I played ball golf for a lot of years. That was actually my first attempt at professional golf was there, but that didn't work out. And then I was in the bowling community for a long time, but nothing's ever been like this.
Yeah, nope. It's special, very special, which is why in my new position, I'm very, very honored and humbled to that's my job, is to be the steward of the sport of disc golf. That's what the PDGA's job is. And I take that very seriously, and it's so worth it though, because it's just it's such a great sport. I mean, we could talk about it for hours.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm scanning through my questions here. Do you guys see any other ones we want to hit? I got one that I'd kind of like to know about. PDGA's looking to go away from non-members being able to play even C tiers and above, I think, next year, right?
That hasn't been officially determined yet, but the A tiers, it used to be just A tiers, then we added B tiers. There was some discussion about adding C tiers to that group, but that didn't pass the muster this past year. I'm sure that it'll be discussed again, but I can't speak to whether it'll happen or not. Okay. I personally think there's pros and cons to both, but personally speaking, I think there's also been talk about a D tier that we bring in, and I think one thing, and I'd be pretty committed to this, and someone would really have to explain to me why we would do something other than what I'm about to say. If we don't have a level of sanctioned tournaments where someone can get a temporary membership to play that event, we're now saying the only entry into our competitive disc golf is you got to pony up and get an annual membership for the PDGA. And I think that one of the best ways because typically, and you guys are probably like this, someone shows you how to play, you play, you start playing more, you meet more people. Some of them are like, hey, we play in these tournaments and these leagues. Oh, I'll try that. it's a series of trying things and making sure that it's something you want to continue to do. And I think if we get to the point where a temporary membership can't get a non-member into an event, boy, in some ways we're saying, hey, if you want to, you just got to count on the fact that you're going to love it. So no try before you buy or anything like that. So that's where I'm at on that. So, but yeah, Chris, nothing official has been determined yet. There's an annual cycle where we review all the different rules changes, the competition manual stuff, and sometimes stuff works. Sometimes, some ideas come through and they get voted down. Some get voted in. That one got voted down this past year.
Okay. Yeah, that's the perfect answer, because my question was going to go to, why did the daily membership go away, or is it going to go away? And I'm with you. I think that, if a person is just getting into tournament play, heck, you can play 4 tournaments before you would have paid for that membership. And a lot of times that's what will happen. Person will show up 2 or 3 or 4 times and you'll say, hey, look, dude, if you just become a member, you wouldn't have to pay that $10.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's needed. Like you say, I think that lower level of events, those are my favorite ones to play.
Yep.
I love going to a tournament and seeing all of my buddies, meeting my buddies, just that laid back hangout, grassroots. This is where we started from. That's it for me. I would play nothing but those if it was.
Yep. Yeah. One thing I miss, and I understand why we made the change. And again, as the sport becomes more a known sport, you got to put some structure around it. But do you remember the days where you go to a C tier and your first round would be a mixed card? You'd play with an old dude that was 60, a junior, and a woman disc golfer, and you just had a blast. And then the next round, it would get shaken out and you'd go play with your division. I used to love that. And that created even more community. But I also see the argument that if I'm going to pay my $30 to play an intermediate, I want to play against some intermediate dudes and compete against them. So, that was a rule that changed a few years back too. So,
and that's another conversation that Ronnie and I've had before too. Not so much on that level, but even at like Pro Tour, I feel like it is a huge advantage if you're on that feature card with the cameras, with the big ballers, all of those guys feeding off of each other. I feel like that is a tremendous advantage. You're going out late. Paul Macbeth is never going out at 7:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Right? Well, he might when he comes back and his shoulder's not as awesome as it was, but But we still do mixed cards at the Kansas State Championships every year, first round.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
It's fun. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah, when I was new, I loved that too, because you could learn stuff from people that were better than you. You could and play with someone you've never played with before, or I could feel like a complete badass against people that were less than me. As far as division, it's just
there were people like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was early, so there's very few. But yeah, I think they had to be like 3 or 4 years old or something, to be worse than me. But
that's another thing that's so awesome about disc golf is that you can have a Masters World Champion, MP50 champion like Smitty, playing with a 8-year-old kid that has played for 2 weeks, and they can both effectively. Now, you might get frustrated at times during a round or something like that, but you can do that. If there were 4 professional basketball players and me showed up at a basketball court, and we decided we were all going to play together, it's just not going to work. I'd be a liability. It's the same thing with with tennis. You get a really good professional tennis player and a beginner tennis player. I mean, that pro is going to have to just dial things way back. But with disc golf, you can have the best and the worst on the same card, and they both can do what they need to do because it's that individual sport, but it's still played in a community of the people that are on the card. So,
yep, absolutely,
100%.
Yep.
Faux show. Well, should we do rule school?
Yeah, because I think the majority of the other questions he's kind of answered in some capacity
for sure.
as he went. So
let's do a little rule school and hit him with a game time and get out of here.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have time for both, Doug, or do you want to just do our game and let us do rule school? It's up to you.
Yeah. I should probably. I just looked at the clock. I've been on with you guys for.
Hour and 37 minutes.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can do rule school. I don't like rules.
Okay.
Except for the 2 meter rule.
You-
Oh boy.
Only on some holes, though.
Yeah, and only on specific. If the tree has green leaf, okay, 2 meter rule on that tree. That tree over there, let's go 1 meter rule. We can just really mix it up.
Right. So, well, you have to play the game because
I will.
That's our favorite part.
Yep. Hey, before you do that, before we start this game, I want to thank all three of you guys. It's sometimes, and again, this goes back to what I mentioned to you, Chris, about the things you do off the course. But for our sport to grow, we need people that are passionate about playing the sport and competing at a high level and being 10-20 rated. But we also need people that work at disc golf stores or create podcasts or do things like that. The stuff that you guys do gives people a lot of insight into the game. Hey, almost 25% of our active PDGA members last year did not play a tournament.
Wow.
But they're fans of the sport. They love it. And things like what you guys are doing, I really appreciate it because the more media, regardless of what it is, really does continue to give more exposure. So thank you guys for what you're doing. Let's bring on this game.
Shall we play
Thank you,
a game? Shall we play a game? Shall we play a game?
All right. Bring it on.
Okay, so Doug, I have scoured the best I could some of your playing career, and I've come up with a little game. We're going to call it Over Under.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to use some rough numbers on a couple of these first ones. You mentioned a little bit earlier that you've ran a couple of big events or been involved with, right? Part of it. So roughly what, 1,600 people played the GBO in 2018?
Yep.
So in the state of Kansas, we have some pretty small towns around here. Okay. I know you lived here for a while, so you should know most of these places. In the state of Kansas, over under, more players at the 2018 GBO or live within Olpe?
More people at the GBO.
Lucas?
I think it's going to be close. I think Olpe just by a hair. So over.
Smitty.
By the way, Doug, Lucas always loses. I'll take GBO.
Yeah, I usually get 0 points, Doug.
What's the deal, Lucas?
So that would be over. More competitors at the GBO. No, GBO, not over.
Dang it.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't have a mic, but I have a mouse. Can I just do a mouse drop right now?
And Lucas is bad at
513
mathing.
people in Olpe.
I am keeping score.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over under, more people at the 2018 GBO or live in Cottonwood Falls?
This is Lucas.
All right. This is easily more people at GBO.
I'll go GBO.
Now, is Strong City part of Cottonwood Falls?
They hate each other.
Only Cottonwood Falls. They hate each other. It's Hatfields and McCoys. Don't you that you even mentioned
I would
both
say
of the
more
same
people.
podcast.
I
We're
would
probably
say
gonna get sued.
more people played at the GBO in 2018.
GBO, 814 people. All right, let's
Yep.
get to Doug. Doug, by my research, the last time Mr. Bjerkaas had 1,000 rated round was it's been a while ago. We'll just call it that. Over under.
What is that, by the way? 1,000 rated round.
You've had some. Let's not kid people.
Yep.
Over under 2.5 presidents ago.
This is me, right?
This is you, Smitty.
2.5. Which president do we only consider half a president?
Well, we can't tie here, so we either have to be more or less than 2.5 presidents ago.
I understand. So we're talking about. Well, Chris has to go first, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna say I'm taking the under. He popped one off at some point.
Doug?
I played a flex start C tier down in Tyler, Texas, where I tied for first with him, Vinnie Miller. And I don't know if that was 990 or if it was actually 1,000. 2.5 presidents ago. So, when you disc golf's your life, you don't pay attention to politics anymore. We got Biden, and then we got Trump.
Whoa!
7 years.
I did not do that.
That's no. Did you even see that?
What?
He had like balloons coming.
Do this
on
hands again.
On an Apple, if you do this, on an Apple computer, was it a bunch of balloons?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not doing it right now. But
It's pretty awesome.
Anyways,
I thought you were calling him shot.
I'm going to say that I've shot 1,000 rated round while Donald Trump was in office. So would that be the under?
That would be the
Yes.
under, yes.
I'll go with the
I am going to also go with the under.
Oh, everybody misses. It's actually over. The last time, it was close though. The last time Doug had 1,000 rated round was May of 2015. It was 1,012 rated round at the Rio Pueblo Open.
New Mexico.
So just before Mr. Trump was inaugurated, not too long after Trump was inaugurated.
Let me make a quick note here. Contact the technology team at the PDGA to adjust a rating to make sure that it was okay.
I mean,
I'll come back next week and we're going to ask that question.
You got Stat Mando on your side now, so you're in good shape.
That's right.
Okay, so maybe the old boys at Stat Mando could have helped you out with this one. Mr. Bjerkaas has had 14 1,000 rated rounds. Over under his highest rated round of 1035. It's back to you, Doug. Actually, Doug, we're gonna let you go last because you might know here.
Yeah.
Lucas, you go first.
I'm going under. I'm going under.
I'm giving it to him. Over.
Really? That's crazy.
McCook, Nebraska. First round. It was 1030 something. I think that's my highest rated round. And I don't know if it was 1030. I think it was 1034. You know what, though? I would think that if you're going to have me on the show and you're going to ask a question like that, you're going to give me an opportunity to shine at least once. So I'm going to say over.
It is over.
Dang it. I suck.
At the 2010 True Line Customs Kelly Park Masters, Doug Bjerkaas with a 1037 rated round.
Wow, Doug. That's sick.
Yeah. Tell him what the
Superstar.
second round was when I had like a big lead and then did not win. Pat Lean from Colorado came back and got me.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
Ronnie, I like you.
Okay. We've got three more here, real quick.
3 more. Okay.
What's the score?
Doug 3, Smitty 3, Lucas 1.
Of course.
In 2011, Doug reached a career high rating of 962. It's a pretty solid rating. Over under, Doug's highest career rating is higher than that of his daughter Paige.
So has Paige ever been 962?
Yeah, that's the
Paige's
question.
career highest rating against Doug's career highest rating.
All right. Is it me again?
Yep.
Or is it Smitty?
Smitty, you
That's
go.
me. I'm giving it to Doug. I don't think Paige has been 962 or above.
Is it me or Lucas?
You can go, Doug.
Yeah.
Sure.
Paige's highest rating, I believe, was in the 950s. So I think that's one thing I still have her beat at. But that I think that's true.
He
Or
just
maybe it's
thinks, Lucas.
Dream world.
Go the other
It's
way,
okay.
Lucas.
No, I was actually going to go this way. So we're going to go.
You can't catch us going the same as
Yeah.
us.
Well, I
You
can't
gotta
help it. This one's correct. So it's
Go.
Doug's got her.
It is over. Paige's highest career rating was 954. Not too long after her 2018 Worlds win. In August of 2019, she reached 954.
Yep.
Okay. In 2007, you played the Frontier Open, Doug. So did, at the same time, your former boss, Mr. Jeremy Rusko. In that event, over under, Doug total strokes against Jeremy Rusko.
That's where I played. I played against. I always got a kick out of it because when he introduced me himself, I go, "Boy, I think Nebraska's football coach is named that." Is Tom Osborne still playing disc golf in Kansas?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. Is he still playing?
Well, he's in Salina, right?
Pretty much just in Salina.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
playing.
Who's the postman that lives in Ellis?
Kevin Rohrball.
Oh, love playing with him. I think that year I played MA 40 actually before I started playing MP 40. I have no idea what Jeremy did, and he was probably playing MA 1.
He was playing advanced at the time, correct?
You know
I'm
what?
going to tell you guys what, it was close. This was a very close one.
You know what? The heck with it. I'm going to say I whooped his beep. I don't know if you can, if I should, beep that out, but I think I whooped up on him.
Somebody tag Jeremy Rusko to this, please. Lucas.
Yeah, we have to go the opposite way. We got to get some points. I think
you got to try to catch up.
Yeah, I do think Doug probably won. But for points' sake, I'm going to try to go Rusko.
I'm going Rusko by 2.
Doug
by
got
2.
him. Doug got him. Doug 226 strokes in that event. Jeremy Rusko 232.
So what was the difference?
It was a 6-stroke.
Okay.
Doug beat him by 6.
The difference was I was the better disc golfer. That's the difference.
Absolutely. All right, Doug. Here's the last one. Okay. At the 2011
what's the scoreboard? What's the score right now?
Sorry.
I think I might have
got it already.
Smitty by 1.
Doug's got 5, Smitty 4, Lucas 2.
Oh, it's only 1, so this one will matter.
It is only 1.
Okay, at the 2011 GBO, 10 people played in that event who are either hosts of this show or have been previous to you, our guest for the show. I'll let you know of the people, and then I'm going to ask you the over-under on how many of these competitors you beat in the 2011 GBO. In that event, that have former guest Eric McCabe, former guest Ron Converse.
Ron, what was the second one?
Ron Converse.
He was probably whistling.
Downtown
Gummit.
Downtown Randy Brown.
Love that guy.
Dennis Fashholtz.
Love that guy.
I myself played in that event. Kevin Babbitt. Darren Bottom. Brandon Mace. And the very first guest of the Dummies podcast, Scott Reek.
How many of those people did Doug beat?
Over under, Doug beat 3.5 people.
Is there any way? Did I played MP 40?
You did play 40.
Did I finish? In the
sorry.
top 10
Over
maybe?
under, Doug beat 4.5 people. Sorry, 4.5.
Okay. Did I? Are you at liberty to tell me? Did I finish in the top 10 that year?
You did.
Okay, I think I beat more than. I think I'm over on that one. That was probably my best tournament in Emporia, so I'll go over.
All right.
Lucas.
In my statistics,
I beat Rob Ryan. I remember that, and that was. I think I beat Rob Ryan, and being a fellow Colorado guy. Do you have it up there? Did I beat him in that event?
I don't have the events of the event itself up.
Well, I'm gonna. You're not gonna finish the show by having me under. I'm gonna go over.
Okay. I had my statistics, as you said, the people. I had Doug beating 4 of them, so I'm going to go under.
Oh man, I got to go opposite of Doug just so I can try to time. But I think Doug beat more. I think Doug beat more, but I'm going under, hopefully to get a tie and a tiebreaker.
Well, we do have a tiebreaker question ready, just in case it did not work out for Mr. Bjerkaas here. Eric McCabe, 163. Ron Converse, 166. Downtown Randy Brown, 173. Dennis Vaschholz, 174. Ronnie
He was
Unruh,
playing from different tees.
now that is a factor, correct. Ronnie Unruh and Doug Bjerkaas, 175. The 4 people that he did beat, so we're going to call it a wash.
No, we're
Kevin
not.
Babbitt, 176. Darren Bottom, 187. Brandon Mace, 190, and Scott Reek, 202. So you only beat 4 people, Doug. You tied
That's-
myself.
I'll go to the tiebreaker because I'm that confident.
We're tied.
Got it.
Lucas, is Lucas in the tiebreaker?
No, I'm out. Thank you so much.
You're out. You're out.
Tiebreaker. That's like kissing your sister.
All right. We're going to go
I
to
kn-
the tiebreaker.
I was for sure he beat Mace. That was my only solid.
Well, I'm just glad to hear I beat Reek.
Oh,
Well, you finished, so you were in good shape.
Yep.
All right. Tiebreaker. I'm going to need you to does anybody have a pen and paper handy? We can go on the honor system if we need to.
I don't trust Doug. I do not trust Doug.
I have a highlighter.
Both of you
a yellow highlighter.
Highlighter
yellow
with the
pad.
legal pad.
It'll work.
both of you
You
boys
don't
are
even
pretty
have to ask-
familiar with.
You don't even have to ask the question. I'm going to go on the blind.
Whoa.
Over. No, you can't do that.
It's not an over/under question. We're gonna have a winner here.
Yeah, then I'm not going to do that.
Both of you boys are pretty familiar with Emporia. I need you to write down the population of Emporia, Kansas.
Oh God.
Closest period does not. We're not playing the Price is Right rules. Closest period wins.
Okay. Do I need to get a calculator? Or is your mental math great, Ronnie?
I can do it. I can do it pretty good.
All right, cool.
Smitty,
I
let's
have
see
a
yours.
number. Doug, did you find something to write with or not?
Yep. You want me to show it?
25,326, and Doug says 24,500. The population of Emporia, Kansas is 24,009.
Oh my God,
Mr.
Doug!
If we
Doug
were
was
playing the
so
prices right,
close.
he'd have won the showcase show. He'd have won both showcases.
No, it was
Right.
if he went over. He wouldn't have won in prices, right?
No, we both would have been belly up.
We're not playing closest to. He was so close.
That was
I know.
really
No.
impressive, Doug.
You
Not
said
without
if we were
the-
in the prices right.
He was within the window.
Yep.
Just he went over.
My brother liked the dance, Doug. It's the dance for
Oh,
me.
Man, that's like 2 or 3
Nice.
guests in a row that have won our game. You guys are going to have to step your game up because no guest had ever won, and now you guys, neither one of you can beat anybody.
I'm gonna if I ever show up on this show again. And by the way, thank you. I'm honored that you guys had me
You're
on when
welcome
Chris
back.
asked me. That was awesome. But I had to type in my name as my label. But next time I'm going to type in Chris's mom's favorite guest, and that's what I'm calling myself. But anyways, hey, one last shout out to everyone that's listening. Man, go tell somebody about disc golf. Take them out, play some golf, show them, and they'll fall in love with it. Give them a disc too, man. It's worth it.
Absolutely.
So-
Right on. Thanks, Douglas.
Doug, thank you so
Hey,
much, man.
Yep, enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
All
Rule
right.
school or
Yeah, rule school. Yeah.
Might as well.
Gosh, that was fun, dude.
oh yeah. I told you we wouldn't have to do much. That Doug
Yeah.
would just
I mean,
take
that
care
was
of it.
effortless.
Yeah,
All right, here we
that was
go. Rule school. I got something I'm going to share. So let's talk about this. Some of you may have seen this. This was on GK Pro, but we're going to watch this for about 40 seconds. And let's take a look at this crazy putt.
I can't get with it, man.
Let's look at that. Sitting at the top.
Well,
Drops
see, but
in.
that's at the very tail end of it, though, too.
Yeah, so let's look
yeah.
at that again, right? So
That thing's at rest right there. It is not moving on its
Absolutely.
own power.
I think so, too.
all right.
So-
So that is the
And it only
question.
has to come to rest for any amount of time whatsoever.
You
That's all
you
has
are
to
going to
do.
be the most hated man in disc golf if you make that call, though.
I don't know that I can make the call, especially like to that guy, right? I understand why they don't. If the guy's the 920 rated local playing with the big boys on coverage and it's not gone real well for him, then that happens. And it's a pretty not only comical but awesome highlight. How are you going to tell that guy?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Because
pal.
what's the rule here? The rule is establishes a position where it comes to rest, right?
Yeah.
And so we're saying that was a rest. But is it a rest if that thing was a little slanted and it's just slowly moving? We just can't tell. Like,
No,
do
I
you
don't
think
think-
it's
It sits
I
there,
think
dude.
I think that thing clearly is not moving.
I think so too. I think
What
it's
do y'all
pretty
think?
clear. I felt like it was pretty clear. It'd be like I said, you'd be, just like the most hated guy ever if you make that call. But I think it's the right call. It looked to me like it had stopped.
so? I guess
What if it wasn't a basket though? Let's say there's a tree on the edge of a pond. Okay, dude throws, gets caught up in the branches, comes to rest that same amount of time, falls down, rolls in the water. Are you more apt to then say, oh yeah, that came to rest in the tree for 2 seconds before it fell out? I mean, I'd be interested to put a stopwatch on that thing and see how long it was on top of there. But
see, because I had kind of a similar question. Like, what if crazy windy day, right? It comes to rest for about the same amount of time, and somehow the wind gets under it and pushes it OB. Could you make that same? Could you make that same argument that it came to rest?
It's supposed to be
Yeah.
replaced.
yeah, by the rule.
Yep,
Yeah, it's
that's
supposed to
tough.
be replaced.
I mean, I think it's almost an impossible call, but
Yeah,
It surely is.
yeah, but yeah,
But
definitely.
I talked about it immediately after it happened. I was like, yeah, no, dude, it stopped.
Yep.
yeah, crazy circumstance. Cool story for that guy.
Yeah, the fact that it's on film is even cooler. So
Yeah,
just
an
you can
awesome
see
video.
it.
I mean, it's an awesome video.
Yeah, but yeah, I think came to rest, but they
Oh,
benefit to the player, huh?
Andrew brings I don't want to. We've already went almost 2 hours here. You don't want to. You
Yeah.
don't want to see me get on my soapbox.
We have gone 2 hours.
But
What if a dog ran out right as he putted it and it did that?
I hate what Andrew just said.
Yeah, we're not going there. We're not going there. But hey, if you'd like some Win Dummy merch, we have shirts. $20 a pop. Supplies limited. Reach out to Smitty. Shirts are awesome. I think there's different colors too. Yeah, Smitty?
There's a few, yeah. We are running pretty low.
Okay. But we do have some, so reach out if you'd like one. Other than that, see if there's anything else.
This
Yeah. Oh,
Check that.
so
thing
hold
out.
on. Before I show you the discs, go ahead and show that, Smitty. We're going to get some of these. These things are pretty awesome. Brendan Kuntz at Open Tab Project made these. Also, Brendan was the sponsor of our game today. So just keep this in mind that he can do little engravings. This is etched in, and this thing is sick. It looks so good. I gave these to Smitty, and he's like, really? That's etched? Because it looked so good. Sorry, Ronnie didn't have one.
Ronnie got the invisible model.
Dr. Pepper, not a sponsor.
Zero sugar. But last thing I want to talk about real quick is this giveaway by Andrew for Wild Bill Hickok Disc Golf Club. We got a Neutron Hex, an Axiom Neutron time lapse. I'm going to be making a post about this on how you can enter into the giveaway for this. One of the things that I will look at that you should automatically get entered in is if you made a comment on this post or on this video while we were doing this, you're going to automatically get an entry in. And we're going to do this on the next podcast. So please, if you haven't commented, I know we're at the 2-hour mark, but if you haven't commented, make sure you just type in a little comment here to the video. Thank you all for being here tonight. Other than that, fellas, I do want to just mention again, if you'd like to sponsor like Andrew did tonight, maybe come on the show and talk a little bit about your particular brand, your particular club, whatever it may be. Let us know. We'd love to get you on the podcast, not just showing your brand, but also letting you talk about it. I think it was really cool to have Andrew here tonight. I really enjoyed that. Did you guys like that too? I think that's way better. Yeah. So, yeah, other than that, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Fellas, do you have anything you'd like to share before we head on out?
We're going to be ramping it up the next few months, man. We're going to be going pretty much every week. We're going to follow the tour starting next week. We'll have our first video highlighting what happened this weekend at the All-Star. So we're going to have a lot more content going out. So make sure you share it if you would. Tell your friends to watch it if you enjoyed the show. I mean, if you didn't like tonight's show, there's something wrong with you. That was amazing. So
yep.
Yeah, thanks for getting Doug on, man. I've known of Doug forever, and everyone always said how great of a storyteller he is, and just overall top notch, awesome dude. And yeah, that was a pretty great conversation, man. That couldn't have been more fun.
Nope, it was great.
Great time. And everyone, thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one. Remember, we are going to be dropping another podcast. Like Smitty said, the players meeting will be dropping next Tuesday already. So we're going to be pumping out content. So stay locked in. Hope to see y'all on that in the comments, sharing that stuff as well. And appreciate your support. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Yep. Later.
Later, y'all.